should say ready to go live, like on Zoom. We are now recording. All right, time for That Davis Show. I'm your host, Kenneth Davis. Follow me at That's Davis. You know the executive producer of That Davis Show and also Flippin' Friends, the one and the only Ryan Bukoveski. Follow him at Ryan B. Ski and Ryan B. Ski 1 on Instagram. To be honest, we didn't really feel like doing the show. Sometimes you just need a break. We've been grinding, coming out with this new show, still working out some of the kinks. As you see right now, we're on StreamYard, trying something different to see how it works with how we like to send you this show. And perhaps it will be the format that we use going forward, shifting off of Zoom, even though sometimes we may jump a little bit back and forth. Just trying, like I say, to work out the kinks, and always appreciate you all for sticking with us as we try to grow this out and bring you a better show each and every episode. Bears lost, man. I mean, I don't know who had them winning. And it wasn't really a loss. It was a drubbing or ass kicking. In some ways, it was worse than the Indianapolis Colts game, which I think was a physical. It was like this game was very physical, but this game was physical and well coached. We saw the return. I'm not saying that just this game. We saw the return of the boy wonder genius and Sean McVay. But that's just part of what we're going to get into, and that'll be the main of the show as far as talking about the Bears and this loss and what we expect moving forward, and also the trade deadline coming up. Perhaps they need to do a move, in particular when it comes to that line, and secondly, maybe when it comes to defensive tackle. We got to go take it from the top. The tippy. Oh, my people. All right, off top. This one comes from the Tribune. It's by Gregory Pratt, Joe Marr, and John Bryan. Chicago Mayor Larry Lightfoot has decided to go against her campaign pledge and then what she called the city's addiction to fines and fees. If you didn't know, this 6-mile limit camera they're going to hit you with while you're out there driving above the speed limit. A Tribune review of publicly available city crash data shows more complicated picture of the safety situation than Lightfoot presented. She basically said that right now, people are getting into more accidents than they did last year, and that's why she's doing it. With the total crashes actually down from the first 9 months of 2019, they were 88,757 compared to the same period in 2020 when there were 69,480 records show. City officials said deaths on the roads are up in 2020. 100 through September versus 72 in the same period last year. With far less traffic, they also said the city's cameras are registering drivers speeding more, an average of roughly 2 miles faster than last year, which suggests to them that the people are driving faster and causing more serious crashes. Still, it's not clear how many are caused by speeding. The Tribune analyzed the city crash data and report data available online compared to the first 9 months of 2020 and 2019. The analysts found that fatal crashes blamed specifically on people driving recklessly over the speed limit, too fast for conditions, too fast to avoid crashes, are up by 1 from 19 to 20. Serious crashes blamed on any of those factors, which resulted in death or incapacitation injuries, are down 20% year over year from 356 in 2019 to 286 in 2020. So the reason that I bring this up is this. Listen. It's sad to see someone who basically wasn't a politician become a politician. We know about the budget deficit here in Chicago, and that Lori Lightfoot said that how she's going to have to raise taxes, cut city workers, and so on and so forth. And now we're seeing another gimmick of it with the red light cameras, or the speeding cameras, as I should say. We know what you're doing. And I'm not even saying this is so crazy and it's wrong, even though it is crazy and wrong. You don't have to sit here and lie to us. And the thing that I was going to point out when they kind of mentioned in this, part of the reason people are driving 2 miles faster is because the streets are wide open in some places, because people like myself work from home, or someone like Ryan isn't getting the same amount of work that he was getting because the industry he worked in has been scaled back because you can't have people inside of restaurants. So when I'm driving, there's far less traffic than there has been in the past, and there's a lot more open lanes and a lot more time for you to basically get it. So for you to say that basically, and you saw how minute the crashes were up, and I don't want to be facetious in saying anybody getting hurt in an accident, especially one that they didn't cause, even if you caused it, but especially one that you didn't cause, isn't important. But to sit here with the 6 mile over the limit and you're just trying to get in our pockets and you campaigned against it is BS. So when you see that, it just goes again and just shows someone who I hate to say it, to a certain degree, she just wasn't prepared for this job, you know, and I wish her the best. But honestly, and it's one reason that I'm this is going to sound crazy. I'm not a Trump guy, but I'm a little bit of drain the swamp. But I'm drain the swamp with, I still want somebody who's kind of done that job. I'm not the learn on the job guy with super serious stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. That's not how I envision it, because you're going to take so much time. We're going to talk about that with Matt Nagy and the Bears moving forward as far as play calling. But
there's a lot of that in Chicago.
That's what we do. We like first timers here, baby, because they cheap. Even though, listen, she gets paid the same amount as the last mayor did, so it's not necessarily the same. That was from popularity vote, and she won it. But still, this is what you get in this situation. And some of this stuff would have happened regardless of who the mayor is, because of the pandemic, because of George Floyd. Some of this stuff would have happened. Now, someone who's been in office may have been able to, and this isn't the most important thing in my life, but protect downtown. You know better. But again, I'm not worried about downtown like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm worried about where I live. And I'm not hating on downtown, but you've been given the privilege all the time, basically, since they revitalized it in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? You've been put in the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Where some of these neighborhoods, and I don't live in a bad neighborhood, but there's still not enough businesses in my neighborhood, and they're dwindling because of what's taking place. Some of these neighborhoods need an infusion of cash, and also need more police available, and instead of being available down in the money district. But still, the real reason that I made this my off the top tippy is just, again, just shows just Lori stumbling. You know, and I hope she gets it together, because I'm not someone who's against her. I want to say that I'm not against her, but I hope she gets it together, and I hope she's not as sensitive as sometimes she comes out as being sensitive, because we all make mistakes, and it is what it is. And I understand that there's people gunning for you. You know what I'm saying? And some people are gunning for you not because you just did something and you messed up. They're gunning for you because they just don't like you in general. And, you know, that's a whole different matter. But that's my off the top for Lori Lightfoot.
I like that off top. I don't know. What how would you grade her so far as mayor of Chicago? And, you know, everyone talks about the corruption, and then you throw in COVID. Did she really even stand a chance, do you think? Or is it just a situation where she could have done things better? It just hasn't executed too well.
Well, I would give her a C-, because COVID happened. COVID was going to happen to any mayor in Chicago, you know. So I'll give her a C-. I don't know how Rahm would have handled it, because see, the thing is, Rahm knows where everything is at already, or even Toni Preckwinkle, for the most part, being the fact that she runs Cook County. She knows the machinations of everything and how to implement stuff, rather than someone who's just kind of learning, even though we know that Lori was in charge of, I forget what she was in charge of with the police. What was her claim to fame or whatever. And I don't think it was a review board. I can't remember what she was necessarily in charge of, which was her claim to fame and getting that job. It's a C-, man, because you saw the incident that happened with they tried to blame it on Inglewood when the young man was shot, and then they went down there the last time downtown was victimized and looted. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a social justice movement right there. That was straight looting. You should have been prepared for that, because it happened already this year. You've seen it. It's happened. Also, you would think that with all the technology and money spent, they would be paying attention to these flash gangs that are doing this and tapping in and listening to. Now, I'm being naive and naive, but paying attention to necessarily what's going on. And also, you see that zero up there. We're not broadcasting live. This is on private. All right. So not to say that if we were broadcasting live, there wouldn't be one up there, but I just want you to know we ain't out here this lonely. We ain't out here this lonely. Initially, and I want to say this initially, we're going to do this on private until we kind of get some of the bugs out and feel that we can bring you more of a quality show while using StreamYard, because we haven't used StreamYard before. So I just want to give you that point. But yeah, I mean, it's a C-, Ryan. Listen, your superintendent. Well, let's go back to the old superintendent, which you covered for. You know what I'm saying? You covered for your old superintendent and his shenanigans, right? Told him to get the young lady as far away from him as possible, this suing Eddie Johnson for sexual harassment. Then you brought in, I forget the young brother from Dallas or whatever, and one of his first interviews, he was breaking down to me about the gangs and the cliques in Chicago and saying just like, can you believe it's this? And it's just like, what? Like, who are you? You're a tourist in this mud? So I don't necessarily know if she's put the right people in place, especially when it comes to something like Chicago and crime. You know what I'm saying? Like that's up here, right? I don't know if she's put the right people in place. And also, she's been very thin-skinned. I haven't seen her accept a lot of blame. And, like we look at 45 and we chastise him for always pointing up the finger at somebody else and take some of those hits also. You know what I'm saying? And it's still, I'm not, just wishing the worst on her. I want to see her do better, but she's going to have to grow. And I mean, it's a learning process. And this is what happens when, unless you're lucky, you hire someone who has not been anywhere in this position. She has never been an elected official. Like you have to remember that. This is her first go at being an elected official. And there are people pulling on you from all over, the people that got you there, the people that you want to maybe get to come over to help you stay there, the people that you need, that it has nothing even to do with re-election, but just the type of power that they have that you need to get on your side and to embolden you to be able to do your job even more efficient. So it's a whole new learning curve that she has to adjust to. So, and listen, I'll just be honest. And it's funny. I think I was going to vote for Lori. And the day that I went to go vote, because I was like this, to be honest with you, I've wanted Toni Preckwinkle to be the mayor for like a decade, basically. She was too scared to go after Rahm, or they had a buddy agreement until Rahm said he wasn't going to run. Because when Rahm had sit there and said, like, yeah, the person that's going to probably win isn't even here. Common sense told you talking about Toni Preckwinkle, right? Because she wasn't going to run against Rahm. I thought Toni Preckwinkle, being someone who ran Cook County, could probably know what the city needed, even though she has been part of the machine. You know what I'm saying? I acknowledge that she's been part of the machine. So I was up for debate who I was going to vote for. And the day I went to go vote, I don't think both kids. I think Kenton may have just been in the car with me that day. I can't remember. But the day I was going to go vote, I think both of them was in the car with me. And I pull up, and it's like 3 blocks from my crib, this church. I pull up, and NBA ball player Toni Preckwinkle is standing in front of the church. It must be a sign, right? Now, mind you, she saw me. I think she thought I voted for Lori, like, because I wasn't out there like Toni, right? I was out there like Chicago, like I wasn't gritty faced, even though people had greeted me, and I definitely reciprocated that, hey, how you doing or whatever. I thought when she came out, she probably thought I was going to say, but I had to get my kids to school. But no, actually, to be honest with you, and I don't even know how open I've been about it, I voted for Toni Preckwinkle. You know what I'm saying? Because I was fearful of hiring someone who hadn't been on the job. I'm always like that. You know what I'm saying? Initially, I was with the Savages and Super Predators lady because I didn't know how I didn't know if Barack had enough equity and had enough on-job training until you saw that snowball effect becoming he was coming downhill, and it was like, oh, it's time. You know what I'm saying? And that, listen, I could be wrong with that one. I could be wrong with both of these. There's none of these that are saying that I'm correct because this is what Kenneth Davis says. This is my opinion. But yeah, I definitely give the mayor a C-, and I know it's been a tough job, but it was going to be a tough job regardless. But the pandemic definitely made it even worse with how it just wrecked the city's economy. Think about all the money that didn't come into the city this year from tourism, from festivals. You know what I'm saying? Just from taxing these bars and the alcohol. Like, just think about all the money that has been lost in Chicago. That was going to be hard on anybody unless they were being reckless. And I'll say this to give her props. She hasn't been reckless. She hasn't been someone. There are some things that are cool about being in a blue state. They just don't send you out there to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, go play. Right? God, whatever. We need to go play. It's something good about, you know what I'm saying, a good old blue state where, they have to, even if they don't, they have to feign that they care about you, because there's a big problem with getting reelection if it's like you're not some type of quote unquote, and I'm joking, but a bleeding heart. So it's good that, someone's been trying to take care of us. And I'm not a big JB person, in particular because he didn't give up his taxes. If Trump didn't give up his taxes and you're mad at Trump for not giving up his taxes, you should be upset with JB not giving up his taxes either. Regardless of donkey or elephant, we all need to know who has their hands in your pocket All right, and like who can leverage anything against you? All right, and it's been the norm, and you should be following the norm. It's another thing of rich people getting over because they're rich, and it's like, well, I don't have to do that. So I'm not the biggest JB person, and that's largely part of the reason. Outside of him, just his desire to be in office, and if you think he just wants to be governor, you're crazy. He wants to go further than that. And that's part of the reason why I think he wants to do the fair tax thing. I think he's doing the fair tax thing because he's going to give up his taxes, and he wants to show the tax that will be, because he's probably been doing something closer to Trump as far as getting over with his taxes, and he doesn't want us to see it. So when that fair tax hit, just think about it. He's in his second year now. If he gets 2 years, he'll be like, I'm gonna give y'all my last 2 years of taxes when he's running again. And you're going to see the adjustment to now what millionaires have to pay, what he's going to be paying, right? And it's not going to be that big hole, or you can't really come at him because now he's paying taxes that are commensurate with the type of wealth that he holds. So that's just something I've been thinking about when it comes to JB, like, because I don't trust him. It's something to it, you know. So even though, I mean, like again, live up to your campaign promises, but I do think it has to do with his next move is why he's doing it, because he would listen if it's either someone he owes someone money, and I'm not even saying that, but it's really how much has he been paying, and he didn't want that to be the big discussion basically. But also, leaving that, I got another off top. Let's get out of politics.
By the way, I think you're talking for Lori Lightfoot. She was president of the police board.
Thank you.
And the Chicago Police Accountability Task Force.
I did think it was I did say that it was the review. So yeah, but again, she wasn't an elected official. And I appreciate you doing that for me, Ryan. So all right. Off the tippy? Taking off the top?
Off the tip?
The tippy? Oh, my people. So, new remote learning episode for today.
Yikes.
A little boy, teacher's getting on a little boy about having toys, right? And these are smart little kids, and their parents are wonderful. And
oops.
So
that's code for they're not wonderful, and
no. I'm actually saying this. These,
we got you. Wink.
These are actually smart kids, and actually the parents are good.
All you got to do is drop one eyelid, and I got you, big guy.
No eyelids today, because it's one thing we talked about that little girl that's in daycare, and it'd be great if she just had someone that can be hands-on to help her, and that's it. And she's a daycare that has nothing to do. I don't know her parents' situation. I wish I could help her in the same afternoon, said the same thing. Teachers have been fantastic. So anyway, first off, one little kid that was playing in toys in Spanish class. So the main teacher, she jumps in on the different classes, and she's telling the little boy, you know, you're in school. Because, you know, you got to realize, even though they're at home, virtually they're in school. Like, the teacher can tell you, like, hey, stop doing that. And they're supposed to, because this is their classroom. Yeah, they're in your house. This is their classroom when they're in their remote learning, right?
Do they announce that? I'm in your house.
Bitches. So the teacher says that, but they're doing what they're happy about. So teacher asked Kelsey, she said, Kelsey, what are you happy about? And she said, I'm happy. I'm not playing with no toys. And I said, Kelsey, don't do that.
Brown noser.
Don't do that. Hey, my girl was dressed up brown. So I was like, don't do that. But this is the kicker. So they're dressing up Friday for Halloween, right? The boy, my son's not doing it. He finally reached the age, he's like, I ain't doing it, right? Which is fine. He's 11 years old. It's like, I get it, right? Like, I think at 11, I may not have been doing it, especially consistently.
Wow, the humbugs of Halloween at the Davis household.
Yeah, we keep it real out here in the field.
You're 11. Get a job.
So Kelsey was sitting there saying that she's going to be Sky from Paw Patrol. And this little young man who is intelligent as ever. And I knew it was coming, Ryan. I said, this little... He's because I've been peeping him all week, right? Our last week and a half, I've been peeping him.
Oh, he did an ocular pat down and assessed the threat level.
Like, just a peeping them, right? And they too young, but it's still like they coming at my daughter a little bit, and it's just like, slow your. So I'm
are they grooming? Is that what?
I'm not at the table. No, they're grown. They're little kids too. There's no grooming. I'm not at the table. I'm working or whatever, but I'm in earshot, and I know as soon as the boy said, Kelsey, Kelsey, you know, Kelsey should be for Halloween. I say, I know what he about to say. He says, Kelsey should be a princess. I said,
Oh yeah.
This he's spitting game with my daughter, disrespecting.
Yeah.
In the end, how dare you disrespect me? Right now, listen, Ryan.
Hey, that's the classroom. It's not your house. He's allowed to sit there.
You're right. Ryan, I knew it was coming from when he said Kelsey should be. I said he about to say a princess. Right.
Honestly, I knew you were going to say that from how you were describing the story.
Right.
All right. Which house do we got to roll up on?
Exactly. So mind you, she's taking it as an offense, right? Because she takes it as he's telling her she can't be who she wants to be for her.
Oh.
Right? Which I kind of tell her, I was like, not really, but I didn't want to say that. No, baby, that's game. Right?
He's flirting with you.
Right. I didn't want, like, that's a whole nother discussion we don't have to get
into.
Right? Like, it's the whole nother, but it was just like, it was just like, golly. So that's my last.
So Kelsey was upset with the boy, huh?
She wasn't upset, but she was like,
didn't respond?
No, she did not. She doesn't really respond because the little boy come on and be like, hi, Kelsey. And she doesn't, we have to tell her to be like, say hi back. She'll just be like, hi, everybody. Right?
Okay. So she's not one of those little kids obsessed with boyfriends or girlfriends.
No. When initially, no.
Oh, baby.
No. Initially, there was this other little boy in the class, and she was like,
"Hey, boyfriend,
can he come over?" No, she doesn't say that. Can he come over? And it was like the first person that she was like, "That's my friend," and she didn't know that she was like that. You know what I'm saying? But I would tell after like, she's doing this or whatever, right? But that stopped a month ago, basically, right?
They broke up.
No, it's too young. They're too young for that. They're way, way, way too young for that to still leave.
I think you're too young for it.
No, it's no 4-year-olds. It's too. They're just friends. All right.
Yeah, come on.
All it be. But both of them, even the entire class, but both of them are really good young men. I'll say that. At the young ages, inquisitive, smart. Some of the questions they're answering, you listen. I make a platform. As you go, boy. Like you can tell, just like
they're going to be bringing flowers over, ringing the doorbell. Mr. Davis, would you mind if I took Kelsey out?
No, not anytime soon, brother. Not anytime. Listen, I'm not going to be the person that makes my daughter wait until she's like super old to quote unquote have a boyfriend. I'm not going to do that.
It's not going to be like Bad Boys. You call over D and just grill the guy right at the front door.
I don't need to call over nobody. I can do that shit myself. But
I don't know why, but I like envisioning D is there giving you backup, and it turns into a comedy routine at the same time.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to die? I mean, I'm not even the joke. I'm just like, listen, it's funny because, and I asked after this, I'm like, has she been asking you? So yesterday she asked me today. Kelsey asked me, she said, Daddy, you gonna protect me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, where is this coming from? And she said that I asked Afton yesterday, she said, yeah, this happened like a week ago. We were talking about something. They were talking about why Kelsey can't go out. It's because Kelsey wants to go out, and sometimes we can't take her because she's so young, she doesn't know not to touch stuff. So Afton was telling her that that we're protecting her. So she asked me, like, will you protect her? I'm like, fool, I will die for you. Like, I didn't say that. But that's what I meant. That was my intent. But yeah, I mean, if somebody does, who else is supposed to victimize a dude for doing something to his daughter, right? Like no fairy's gonna come in my place if something happens to my daughter and be like, "Don't worry, kid, I'll do this job." No, that's my job.
Fairy godmother isn't gonna protect her.
If something happens, dude, I'm not. It's just she's not the one. Listen, young man. I hope you wouldn't do this to any young lady. But let me tell you, she's not the one. And first of all, she's not really gonna put up with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like she's not that. It's only so much Kelsey gonna take before Kelsey's like, nah. But even let's just say she's hopelessly in love, yeah, I'm gonna crack some motherfucker's head.
Can I cut this so you can play it in the Zoom class? Get the guys on the PSA. Let them know.
No.
Do you want to die? No, she can be Sky. She can be Sky.
Yeah, stop putting her in a box. Yeah, it's just no. It's my kid. Listen, it's my kids. It's my family. Nobody's gonna come to the rescue. That's part of I feel like that's part of the role that you take upon yourself. So yeah.
Can we talk about this instead of the Bears? This is a lot more entertaining.
Well, if you want to go a little further, well, sooner or later we're going to have to talk about those damn Bears.
Can we be rescued from talking about the Bears?
No, we can't right now. Unfortunately, we can't at all.
Oh.
That's not the way it goes. Well, you brought it up. So let's transition into some Bears discussion. The Bears lost yesterday evening to the Los Angeles Rams. They were drummed. It was despicable. What was the score at the end of it, Rob?
24-10 on Monday Night Football.
It was really 24-3.
Well, if you really break it down, you had 6 points from defense and 4 points from special teams and 0 from offense. The offense just put them in position to kick a field goal.
And, I think if you've been paying attention to this show, you kind of know how we feel about what's been going on. And I'm not saying like we're sitting here like Nostradamus or anything like that, telling you something and nobody.
You did call the Ted Ginn thing. I didn't hear much Ted Ginn talk until last night, but you brought it up weeks ago about the punt returner, Ted Ginn.
Yeah. So
and look, that was a big topic after this game.
So this is the thing. The Bears' offense was pathetic. We definitely want to get into the play calling situation, which we have been beating up for a long time. But play calling I want to say it's at the epicenter, but it's kind of right out of the epicenter, right? It's the offensive line first. All right. Like if they don't make a move, listen, this is the problem now. You guys have played too well to do the things that I would have wanted you to do. All right. Those 5 wins move you out of what my desires were for this season. Now, we were sitting on a text thread last night arguing about, because I'm telling everybody they're probably going to win 9 or 10 games. D was like, they're going to be 8-8. Dejan was like, they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs, but
I'd be shocked if they're 8-8.
Yeah, that's how, because they've won too many games now. And I mean, we're not even just talking about the games that they got to play in their division that they may win, but still they got games out of their division that are games that you can say are easily, unless they're not paying attention to them. Go ahead, Ryan.
2 Vikings, which we know they can win. A Lions, which we know they can win. Doesn't mean they're better than either team. They can win them. Jacksonville. And then on top of it, that last Green Bay game, it's the last game of the year. Green Bay might not have anything to play for, and they might just put in a bunch of nobodies while the Bears might need it. Right.
They may play Jordan Love, right?
They might lock up number 1 seed or just the number 2, knowing that they don't have a bye. Let's rest everybody because we're playing next week.
Great point. So chances are there's a decent chance they can get to 10 wins, right?
And that's with them not beating any of the good teams if they get a shocker like they did with Tampa.
Correct. And on top of that, right now they're at the 5th seed. It's 7 seeds in the division now, expanded from 6. They're not at the 7th seed. They're at the 5th seed, right? Mm-hmm. They may dive out of it, as you're just saying, with these going against the Saints. And then who do they play after the Saints?
The Titans after that.
Yeah, right, going against the Titans.
Oh, I forgot the Texans. They could beat the Texans.
Of course, right? Come on now. The Texans about to quit, right? They're about to, they're about to win a loss and a half for being like, you know what? It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Can we trade for Deshaun Watson? Is it too late? Will they go for Trevor Lawrence?
They can't. Listen, that would destroy their cap if they traded him after signing a new contract, and you know it. But yeah, that's just it's the problem is, and you're speaking of trading, it's this offensive line. And listen, nobody knew James Daniels was going to go out for the year, even though, and I would really want to talk about something that's been bothering me for the last 2 years, pectoral injuries in the NFL. And because it's been so prevalent compared to like we were kids, people weren't going out with pec injuries. Man, pec injuries now devastate the NFL, right? I don't know if these guys are getting too yoked up. I don't know what they're doing. If their opponents are just so strong. But if you just think about the Bears have probably lost in the last 2 years, 3 players perhaps to pectoral injury.
They definitely lost Roquan. I remember him.
Right. They lost Roquan. They lost James Daniels. I feel like they lost someone else to a pectoral.
There might have been. I know they've done it in the past. I don't know about the last 3 years.
So maybe, yes. But and I'm just talking about that was just the Bears out in the entire league. But yeah, you have to do something. Coward doesn't seem like he's the guy right there with left guard.
What have they seen from him? Like, this is what's killing me with Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. Like, We talked about this with Mitch. What did you see from Mitch that he should definitely come back and get a chance to be the starter again? And the same thing with Rashad Coward. They brought him back. They had how many games with him? Like 10 games last year? He got whooped against Aaron Donald last year. And they brought him back just to get whooped all over again. Like, I hate how Ryan Pace loves to leave positions short, almost like on purpose, expecting coaching and hard work to be the difference.
Trying to prove his point, like you just said, trying to give his guys the best chance. I would have preferred to see Alex Barr out there again. Now, mind you,
Me too.
More Alex Barr he let a sack go when he first got in the game. We all knew that was going to happen, right? It was, any team is going to any team is going to come right down that lane when that's where they're going to go, right? We all knew. After that, he basically played a well enough game after James Daniel was hurt. I feel like we've seen of Coward. I think we've seen enough of them. You know what I'm saying? Again, now I'm not having eyes on them during practice, and I will openly admit that. So perhaps they're seeing stuff that we're not necessarily seeing. But I would have preferred to see Alex Barr from potential, from the guy that I already seen that's been getting his ass kicked. With Jermaine Ifedi, he was going up against Aaron Donald. I'm not going to hit him as hard today as maybe next week. Because there has been some games where I'm like, that's a big dude. And he seemed like he was playing well, but Aaron Donald was all over his ass last night like white on rice. But again, it was Aaron Donald with a mo, because I think Aaron Donald gets keyed up when he goes against Khalil Mack. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think he wants to prove being in the same draft class that and I think we all know he's
that contract. Don't forget that Aaron Donald was the highest for
he was highest paid, and then here comes Khalil Mack. Listen, if I could have either one of the two, I would take Aaron Donald in a heartbeat every time. I'm always the guy that wants the guy that has to take on a double team at hike. Then I can move him around. I already know he's disrupting. If he, especially being that type of disruptor, he's taking on two guys and can still get to the play. But let alone if he's just taking on two guys, he's doing us a well enough job defensively. We should be able to scheme around that. But yeah, you knew that Aaron Donald was going to come with that heat yesterday. He came with that heat yesterday. Sean McVay, man.
Real quick, with Alex Barr, you signed him off your practice squad a year ago because New England was going to pick him up. Why did you do that if you're not going to use him at all? I don't understand that. And like you said, let's give him a shot. Let's see what he looks like out there. There's so many weird inconsistencies with this Bears team that I just don't get. Like, everywhere I've heard Coward, that first game as a starter against Carolina was terrible. Mm-hmm. Why is he just slam dunk the guy over Alex Barr?
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I believe this is on Ryan Pace, and you need to go look at our JJ Stankovic interview from last week. He gave a lot of options. I think Ryan Pace, and of course Ryan Pace knows these options. He needs to implement one of those and bring in a guard. I'm asking light work by just saying a guard, all right? Because I know you can't go out and get a tackle necessarily right now. You need to bring in a guard. You actually bring in a guard in the DT, but you at least need to bring in a guard and help this team out, because the way this offensive line looks, and it is on Matt Nagy and his play calling, but what are you really going to do when there's just no time in the pocket whatsoever?
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't want to trade away an asset, because you're starting to see that build up right now, like trading up for Leonard Floyd, trading up for Mitch Trubisky, trading up for all these other guys. This past draft, what did we all say going into the draft? Obviously, you need the corner. Obviously, you needed the tight end. But we were screaming, if you're not going to go quarterback, you've got to go offensive line. You've got to get new tackles. You've got to add some talent and pipeline to this group. But you don't have enough picks. And the only picks you have are late in the draft when offensive linemen, especially tackles, are way gone. There's none left. There's not guys that you can just find. They're in the first 3 rounds, and all your picks are in the 5th round or the 6th round. And now, if you don't want to trade away more picks because you already have a limited amount, the only other option you have, I think, is to sign some guys. So at least go out in the streets and sign that Buffalo guard that they cut. You know, go sign that the Saints guard that escaped my mind that was cut before the season. That was a big surprising cut. You know, try something, like you said.
And right here, this is former Bears quarterback Brian Griese talking a little bit about his conversation with Nick Foles on what's taking place with the protection with the Bears offensive line and the play call from Matt Nagy.
We were talking to Nick Foles yesterday, and he said, sometimes play calls come in, and I know that I don't have time to execute that play, and I'm the one out here getting hit. And sometimes the guy calling the plays, Matt Nagy, he doesn't know how much time there is back here, and so that's something that they have to get worked out.
Yeah,
Boy, do they.
And then listen, going off that, Matt Nagy had his little 2 cents he wanted to put in there as far as what he thought was taking place. Let me see if I can get this going right. I apologize again. This is our tester episode as we're trying to start using StreamYard and bring you guys a little bit more of the interviews. Hit that share audio.
And I don't know that I have the time to execute that play call, and I'm the one out here getting hit. Sometimes the guy calling the plays, Matt Nagy, he doesn't know how much time there is back there, and so that's something they have to work out. That's just what was said on the broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to, whenever you talk to Nick, just kind of see where he's at with that. That's not. Nick and I have a pretty good relationship, and he hasn't said. I mean, he'll probably explain what he meant by that.
So when Coach Nagy and I talk on the sidelines, we'll go through plays in different situations and go through a defense. And I'll be honest, like, hey, right now maybe get the ball out quicker. They're bringing some pressures, whatnot. So we were talking about game situations and game, different, Coach Nagy and I's conversations and our relationship. So part of that was, the detail, hey, maybe we don't have the time right now for this type of drop because of what they're bringing and the pressures they're bringing. It's easier with that to go, hey, 1, 2, 3, ball out. So that's where the miscommunication lies. Is those are actually conversations Coach Nagy and I have on the sidelines so that when we go to the field, we're ready to roll.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you talked about this. It's funny that Brian Griese calls this, and he was the same guy that was like, I called the whole damn game when he was the Bears quarterback and had to walk that back. It's just, listen, it's not even important, really. It's important if the fact that Matt Nagy isn't listening to his quarterback or his quarterback doesn't feel like he can tell him necessarily this is going on. And I don't necessarily think that Nick Foles doesn't feel like he can do that. He may still feel like Matt Nagy is calling plays that he doesn't understand. They don't have the time for. We don't have the time for a 7-step drop. All right? I take 7 steps. It's a guy 2 steps in front of my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need 3 steps, ball out. That's what we need to do, and that you're not being imaginative. And I mean, the real thing, and I think it's the most important thing, and it's something that we've harped on for a long time, has been the fact that it's probably time for Matt Nagy to give up that play call. But see, this is a problem too when we keep saying that it's time for Matt Nagy to give up that play call. I don't know if the person is on this staff. So we're asking him to give up the play call, and I don't know if they're like a real play caller. Like Matt Nagy, we forget, briefly was the offensive play caller for the Kansas City Chiefs. And basically, we all kind of know that Andy Reid had taken it back. He's not Eric Bieniemy, all right, who has had that job for a certain amount of time and has proven his worth in that job. But here's a little bit about Matt Nagy's question about the play call after the game yesterday.
Chris Emma.
Matt, you spoke last night about starting the evaluations on offense with yourself. Where do you feel you are as a play caller? And is that a role you would consider giving up to Bill Lazor or somebody else on staff?
Yeah, like I said, I always I look at all that and that's the very first thing that I look at is that. And so I talk to our coaches and we talk through that whole process. And I'm really honestly not opposed to there's no opposition from me if we feel like that's what the issue is. And so we look at that right now where we're at. That's not where we think it's at, but at the same point in time, I'll always continue each week to look at it. I mean, I'll say this too, when you're in a little bit of a rut, like we are, a lot of bit of a rut, like we are right now, you have to look at everything. And sometimes even if it's just a little bit of a change somewhere too, you have to be able to do that. No one here, coach and or player, has too big of an ego to think that it's not them, right, as a player or a coach. So we talk through those kind of decisions, and we just keep evaluating and rolling and seeing where we're at.
Seeing where we're at.
It's called bullshit. You, sir.
Always seeing where we're at.
You,
We're just gonna
sir,
see.
have a big ego. All right, now it's Chris Emma from 670 The Score, I believe Chris Emma reports for when it comes to Chicago Bears. Listen, you, sir, have the ego that you, when it came up with that question, that you can't sit there and give this up. We've known since last year that you aren't good at the play call. And again, I wanted to point out how little time he had at that job. He's really learning on the job, and his bigger job is to be the CEO of this team. And the thing that I was talking about on our text thread yesterday, I don't really care if Matt Nagy gets fired. First of all, Matt Nagy's not getting fired. Let me lead with that. He's not getting fired. I don't think he's
Well,
getting
it would take, they'd have to lose like all the rest of their games.
All the
Like, it
rest
would take a disaster.
Yeah, it would take, listen, they would have to win one more game for the rest of the year, right?
Like embarrassed against the Packers twice.
Yes.
Just really bad. And
with
now
things,
playoffs.
that's not probably going to happen. All right, especially with how good this defense has rebounded. I know yesterday you wouldn't necessarily say that, but they were on the field all day. And also you had a Sean McVay in rare form coming at the team that he knows fairly well, let alone when we talk about Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald. Don't think Sean McVay doesn't look at Matt Nagy like they compared
Right.
you to me, right? Like, show you are not me, sir. All right. I know me. And I look at you, and you, sir, are none of me.
And on top of it, too, like the Bears against the Rams, they have just looked so lackluster, except when they've been at home with that frigid cold against them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got no juice or energy whatsoever. And I'm with you. Like Matt Nagy, the CEO, play calling, sometimes it's all about the ability. Like we talk about with Sean McVay, he just seems to have a natural ability at being an offensive genius. And a lot of people keep hiring his assistants, hoping to catch that cup of coffee with Sean McVay thing. Matt Nagy, we don't know if he's a play caller. He might not even have that ability, that intuition to just do it. And he had, I think, a month of it in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. He just might. It might not even be a learning on the job thing. He might just not be good at it whatsoever. With that, no matter how many reps.
That's the point that I'm trying to hit on right there, Ryan. That may not be his ability, but you still have shown that you don't lose your team. He could have lost that defense last year. He could have lost his defense this year. He seems to be a competent CEO, but being a competent CEO is also knowing that you have to hire someone to do something you're not good at. You don't keep doing that job. CEO knows, you know what? I'm not doing this well. Let me bring in someone necessarily to do this. But he feels like admitting that he's not doing that it would be a loss. Initially, perhaps, but in the long run, if you can continue to show that you're the CEO, and it's another key, you may bring in somebody who's so good at that job that they get hired by someone else, and you will learn from them doing that job how to necessarily do that job better yourself. But you need to bring someone in while you're still the Bears CEO. All right, as far as the head coach, you need to bring in somebody to do this. And one, I know, regardless of whatever, that offensive line needs to be repaired, but your play calling is trash, sir. And outside of the first year when nobody knew what you had in the mystery mix, and now everybody knows what's in the mystery mix and has tape on you, it's just time to let it go. I mean, I'm not one of these people that's out here like, Matt Nagy's trash, he has to be fired. And I'm not saying that I'm far away from those people. Like, there's a schism between us. I'm just saying that I still see some good points about him as being a head coach, but he has to let go play calling because that is not that man's forte, to say the least. Again, now we had that 0 up there because we are not live. It may just have been 2, but I just want to point that out. We're just doing a tester as we put this out for the next couple shows, maybe 3 shows putting out there. Not putting to say the Davis show. That Davis show using StreamYard here with Ryan Bukovetsky, executive producer of everything that we do now and before right now. He was executive producer of everything. Just sitting here discussing the Bears, going over that loss against the Rams yesterday, going over about that offensive line and Matt Nagy's struggle at play calling, especially when you still have a team that can make some noise in the playoffs. None of us think the Bears are a Super Bowl contender, but you can still have a good season. This year doesn't feel good. Like I said, this team gives you no relax. They give you there's no parts during the game. You're like, oh, yeah, baby, let's do this. It's always like, oh, and it takes away from the fact that you're just 5-2. right? Like they're just like that's a nice record to have right here at this point of the season, especially for this team. But you there's no relax, so you can't enjoy it as much as you would enjoy it. Is how I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely been stressful watching these games, and the stress also adds with how ugly the execution is. You know, a big problem that I have with the Bears, because no one's going to get fired for anything around here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you got to make do with what you got. You know, maybe Matt Nagy isn't completely hopeless play calling, but I'll tell you the only way it won't be. He's got to go back to the Mitch offense that he started this year, where it was run, and barely pass because I don't trust you. Because ever since he had Nick Foles, he thought, oh, we can do the Matt Nagy scheme. Now I got my guy. We can do it. No, you need a legit quarterback to do that. A guy that can either extend with his feet and make plays, or is so just accurate and on point with precision at reading defenses that he can just move that ball around, like something like a la Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, when they would kill you underneath and then hit you over the top. You need someone like that. Essentially, you need Patrick Mahomes, and you don't have that guy. And so there, what are you saying?
It's also now, because you're totally right, but it's now compounded by the fact that James Daniels is out.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, like, now all that running that they did, and think about it, a lot of that was coming off that left side. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it would be where there was a zone out and they would cut back to that left side. You know what I'm saying? And particularly Daniels. Daniels was the guard that was moving the most this season as far as getting out. And so now you have you have your best offensive lineman out and your best guy on the run. Excuse me. And it's compounded by the fact you have lesser talent in there. So now there's mad penetration. So now there's guys in the backfield already all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you. You still have to run the ball. But that's also why I said they needed another running back. If David Montgomery is going to be the bruiser, you need a speed guy. If David Montgomery is going to be the all-around tools guy, you need a bruiser. You need somebody, even if they're getting that backfield, that's beating up on those defensive players and letting them know you don't want to be around here 4 quarters, man, because I'm coming. I don't care where you catch me in the hole if you want to. You catch me in the hole in the first and the second. Come the third quarter, you're not gonna want to catch me in the hole. And the old fundamentals, and it's simple. You listen. You had it in Mike Davis. You had it, and I'm not the old Jordan Howard guy, but there was no reason. Like, what's Jordan Howard getting paid right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason not to have a battering ram. Like, it goes into Mike Martz saying that he didn't need Greg Olsen because he doesn't use a tight end. A tight end is another tackle in his system, basically. But you had, even though, like me and you said, Greg Olsen was a receiver back when he was a Bear. He used to fall down if you breathed on him. He wasn't as rugged as he was when he got to the Panthers. When he got he was much more of a tight end. And when we're talking about tight end, we're talking about guys that get yards after catching the ball, or yards after contact, rather. You know what I'm saying? That it's like, no, I'm not sitting here. We're about to go. You know what I'm saying? We're about to keep going.
He didn't have yards after contact. When he got contact, he dropped it.
He dropped, right? But he was still a weapon, and he was Jay Cutler's favorite receiver at that point. And you got rid of
him. And man, not just favorite receiver, favorite man.
Correct.
He had a man crush on Greg.
So you in a ways you did the exact same thing, getting rid of something that you did not have to get rid of. And now you're in a situation. I mean, you brought in Davis last year, didn't even use him, and sent him on his way. Like that right there is ridiculous, to say the least. And last season, what you were trying to do, and you left the cupboards bare with 2 running backs, 1 a scat back, basically. All right, a rookie, and at that point, you weren't even using Cordero as much as you're using him this year. And it still goes to show Cordero Patterson is just not a natural run. You're disrespecting running backs. And listen, I love me some Cordero Patterson. Don't get it twisted. All right, I've loved him before he got here. I dug him in Minnesota. Really started digging him when Belichick got his hands on him. I love him because I didn't know on punt returns and kickoffs. And I'm not talking about, I know when I'm talking about kickoffs, I'm not talking about him receiving it. I'm talking about when he's on the defensive side.
Coverage.
Thank you, Ryan. Coverage side, what he does is like, dang, wait, the return guys out here in coverage like this? Like, that made me have a even more affinity for him. And I also thought Matt Nagy was going to use him in space. And even with Tariq Cohen when he's healthy, we haven't seen Matt Nagy use his space guys Darnell Mooney, his space guys, put them in situations.
Who has he used?
They overuse Alex. A huge catch radius. That's all they basically do. They same with Jimmy Graham. We finally saw Cole Kmet actually come out, and Cole Kmet's a rookie. Put that all on the coaches because he still has to necessarily. But I'm with you. I'm saying they should use him more, but we don't know how much of that playbook he knows, how much of the scheme.
Oh man, you know what kills me with that though is like, yes, I get it. But like when the coaches say we don't know how much of the playbook and the scheme, like, all right, you got a problem because the scheme already doesn't work and it's too complicated, clearly, for this team. There's too many guys that are messing up all the time. I mean, they had a sequence of 2 timeouts in 3 plays because they couldn't figure things out. Like, this is too much of a scheme. They've got to simplify it. And when you have a guy like Cole Kmet, who just goes out there and makes a big-time catch early in that game, makes another catch after that. We talked about it, how they don't have guys that can run after the catch and make a guy miss and get 20 yards. And Cole Kmet seems to be one of the few guys that can maybe do that. You opt for Demetrius Harris moving forward after Cole Kmet gets things rolling. And Demetrius Harris on top of it, again, misses some blocks, almost costs you a safety with his terrible block on Leonard Floyd. And he dropped a couple more passes per usual. Like, you're a struggling offense. Can we give it to maybe somebody that could maybe do something with it? And if he doesn't know formations and plays, cut that crap out then. Demetrius Harris ain't doing anything for you.
The key to Sean McVay is he does the things, he accentuates the things that Jared Goff does well, and he throws the stuff that he doesn't the F out.
Right. And he accentuates the defense too. It's
right.
Like Goff and the defense. Let me accentuate them. We're going to run the ball. We're going to do quick passes. We're going to do a few shots downfield so we win some field position. We'll get some points. Defense, do your thing.
Yeah. So I have nothing else when it comes to the Bears' last game. Do you have something else you want to talk about?
The only thing that really bothered me, or another thing that really bothered me in yesterday's game, how many jet sweeps and motions worked? That is Matt Nagy's offense. Why can't he do those things? Sean McVay is just runs these jet sweeps and all these things that Matt Nagy would love to run. The Bears can't even come close to run it. The closest they get is that pitch to Patterson, and the play gets blown up immediately. Like, I was just kind of shocked. Like, I knew Sean McVay was the better offensive coach. That's an actual guru, actual genius. But to just see him do the things that Matt Nagy would love to do, and the Bears can't even come close to running it.
But see, the thing is with that, it's what you're doing off of that. So, one, they had their run game going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he actually believes in the run, unlike
all your running backs. Well, he did. The problem with the run with them is Todd Gurley got hurt, and he wasn't right anymore. And on top of that, how much money they were paying him, right? It depend on them. So now they're going to a running back by committee, basically, and all these guys can basically run. They got their running game back. They know the things. Yeah, you don't really want Jared Goff in the shotgun. You know what I'm saying? You want him behind center. Jared Goff is making those nice plays in the hashes that they necessarily need. And when your quarterback is doing that, then you can run jet sweeps. You know, like that. And so even when you're talking about this, Bears haven't been able to run the football since Matt Nagy's really been here. You know what I'm saying? So that's been out the window. The Bears haven't had consistent quarterback play with downfield threats. So we're basically playing 8 in the box. You know what I'm saying? Like, or listen, if we're not 8 in the box, all we got to do is have the safety over top over Allen Robinson. Like, you're not threatening us enough because, one, your quarterback doesn't put fear in our hearts. Neither one of them, basically, right? Even if Nick Foles is better, your offensive line is trash, and he doesn't have time. Listen, Nick Foles' time in the pocket is a lot shorter than what Mitch was early this year. There were a couple games where Mitch didn't get sacked. He may have been pressured, but he didn't get sacked, right? Like, they're in Nick Foles' face all the time, right? Like, and Nick Foles makes mistakes. Let me not make it seem like Nick Foles doesn't make mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. But he's not getting the time in the pocket that how that offensive line was playing earlier this year when they were all healthy. That now that Mitch was getting, he's not getting that. You know?
Mitch, he wouldn't step up because he just doesn't, and Nick can't step up because of the pocket.
So so that's why, like you say, when you talk about jet sweeps, you can do that because we're worried about other stuff. With the Bears, all you worry about is jet sweeps, right? Like,
I guess. And like, how about the tempo? I thought it was genius by Sean McVay. When we get in the red zone, let's run tempo. Let's not let them get set, because if they get set, they don't give up points. And then the Bears, and it was clear in one of those plays that the receivers or the offense wanted to go tempo. Matt Nagy makes substitutions. Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson are like yelling at the sideline, like, come on, man, what are we doing? And it takes them the third quarter to do up-tempo, which Nick Foles loves. Like, oh my gosh, it's just the Bears are doing random things, and the Rams are doing an offense.
I do think they should play up-tempo often. And it's funny, when they got in the third, they did that. I was like, I wonder if this was the plan, because I wonder if they don't want to, even with Nick Foles, play up-tempo and go 3 and out and have the defense in all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do. I wonder. I think I'm not saying
fair.
Implement it more often, especially when it's working. But I do wonder sometimes it's like,
but Ken, you know what I would say to that? Why don't you do it early when it's 0-0 still? And if it's not working, then you get rid of it. Because wouldn't that help the offensive line when you get to just pound on the same guys and not let them rotate in and out?
They're in nickel, and you can sit there instead of going up against 3 linebackers, go up against a safety. Yeah, it definitely would benefit you, to say the least. So I agree with you. I'm just trying to point out. I'm trying to give him something.
That's a great point. I mean, because it's fair. Like, we know Chuck Pagano's been coaching to not give up the big play, because he doesn't know if his offense will give him back that touchdown that they give up. So I'm sure Matt Nagy has a thought of that, but it's just like, at this point, you got to start trying to do things that work or that the players just really like. Forget what you wanted to do. This is just like last year. It's not about what you want. What can you do? What can you really do against NFL defenses week in and week out? You've got to do those things, and if it's mainly 3 and out and punt, fine. But as long as you're giving yourself a shot, not doing random stuff that doesn't even work.
Man, you saw what happened with that defense being out there all day yesterday.
They're going to be out there a lot, I think, moving forward. I mean, you think the Saints,
you're going to have all the pecs? You want all the pecs ripped up?
You're telling me the Titans aren't going to just destroy that offense with that physical defense?
I'll tell you this much. If Sanders and Thomas aren't healthy in that Saints game, I ain't as worried.
Ooh, I don't know. They didn't even have Drew Brees, and they made it look terrible.
Just saying, if Sanders – yeah, but Teddy Bridgewater was doing his dizzle, though.
I know, but that was the game. Because remember, they didn't have, I think, the running back.
But they did have Mike Thomas in that game, though.
Yeah, I think they did.
They did have Mike Thomas. And Alvin Kamara had a bad season all last year, basically.
Well, that's because he wasn't paid. Now that the young man is paid, he is playing lights out.
I mean, I could come out there now. But,
hey, he's balling this year after that contract. Like, I'm with you. If Sanders and Thomas aren't there, it'll help. But my still concern is that defense of the Saints. They're going to rough up that Bears offense like they did a year ago.
Guess what? What's Drew Brees going to do against that pass rush, though? Because they know they
maybe they throw a little Taysom Hill in there. I might like him better than Nick Foles.
Ooh, I'm so scared.
No. I would be.
The poor man Steve Young BS missed me with.
Yeah, but when you have an offense that doesn't even score, scores nothing.
I'm arguing with you. I'm just listen.
Taysom Hill can get lucky with a Hail Mary.
I have more faith in the Rams than I do the Saints at this point in the season, and partially it's because
that's fair.
Mike Thomas being out.
But is it a lot? Is it a lot more faith? Because I feel like here's the Rams and the Saints are a little drop off.
It's, you know what? If Drew Brees wasn't aging, and we've been saying Drew Brees has been aging for 2 seasons. If this was 3 years ago, yeah, I'm going with.
Oh yeah,
right. But I mean, dude, they got a long thrower. Right, they have an actual designated long thrower,
but they don't need the long thrower this week. They need the 14-point guy. If you get to 14, that might be enough.
I got 2 picks on Drew Brees this upcoming game.
Oh, baby,
got that.
How many for Nick Foles?
Let's just lay here. Let's 1 point. Listen, just stay at home. Basically, just stay at home. Just like that play you saw with Simmons from the Cardinals, and of course it had to come with the play call when they kept sending everything, and then when he saw the same 7 guys up there, they had Simmons float back. Listen, all y'all got to do is just stay at home in that first 10 yards.
Oh boy!
gonna be balls are batted and balls are caught. All right, by defenders. Batted, then caught. All right, batted.
I hope that would be great.
That's what I think. I'm not scared of the Saints. Let me put it like that. I'm not. I am scared of their Sean Payton.
Well,
And
that's what I'm saying. I'm scared of Sean Payton.
He may have
the defense against that Bears offense. It's not so much the Saints offense that has me quivering or anything like that. Like I thought yesterday, the Rams offense, they were a little scary, but I thought the Bears defense would compete well, and overall they did. I mean, you gave up 24 and you scored 7.
Look at the Rams defense did.
That's what I'm saying. And I think the Saints might have a better defense than the Rams.
I don't think so. Or get something like this. They ain't got Aaron Donald, right? And they don't have Jalen Ramsey. So that's what those keys alone, like when you have those building blocks, you know what I'm saying? You can sit there and you can do a whole lot of something when you got building blocks. Like when you can crush the pocket from the front. Like we all love edge rushers, right? Oh my God, Lawrence Taylor, you know what I'm saying? All these guys, Von Miller, these, you know what I'm saying? I guess right now I'm talking about guys that are in a 3-4 and they're not playing with their hand down. But even we say the great Reggie White, who's probably my favorite because he had to take on contact right away because he wasn't playing in space like those 3-4 edge rushers. But still,
a Packer fan.
We all love. No, I'm not. We all love those guys. But when you have someone that crushes the pocket in front, and again, even if you look at the Rams playing the Saints, the real thing where the Saints put their money at is center guards, right? Because they always want Drew Brees to be able to step up and climb the pocket. Like that's always the goal. They don't usually have as much money on superior tackles. I'm not saying they have weak tackles, but usually the money's in the front three, so Drew Brees can always climb the pocket. Imagine if they were playing Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? Like just when you have a guy, and there's a difference between a guy that can collapse the pocket than a guy that can collapse the pocket and get to the quarterback. It changes everything. During a brief period where we had Tommy Harrison here, and you saw that when he was healthy, the difference in that defense when you can't step up. And when you can't step up, what it allows is then those edge rushes, especially if they're not necessarily superior, let's just say they were good, you make those guys closer to being superior.
Wow. Shots at Alex Brown and Adewale Agunleye.
Yeah, they weren't superior. You know, listen,
Sorry, Alex, we wanted to interview you, but then Ken had to burn that bridge.
Sorry, Alex. I loved you. I didn't think you should have lost your job to Mark Anderson. But no, the thing was, out of those 3 guys, this guy right here was a rare talent at the time when he was on top of his game. All right. Like he was flirting, if not the best defensive tackle in football for brief amounts of time. And it allowed those guys to be able, because the quarterback can't step up. So now he's right there in their lane. So again, to me, I'm more fearful of that Rams defense. And now, listen, I may be wrong coming up against the Saints game. I'm more fearful of them because that the premium blocks that they have than what necessarily the Saints have. And so I would probably still say that the Rams defense, to me, is more of a threat than the Bears and with the Saints defenses. I think there's a chance the Bears may win this game versus the Saints.
Okay.
All right. You ready to go up for grabs?
I am.
All right.
Except, my computer died, so we're going to have to do this off memory. Look at that.
You mean you have to?
Yes, my computer died.
Okay. See? that's why the StreamYard is over here, baby.
Let's start with our first up for grabs.
Up for grabs.
And it was going to be about Akiem Hicks. It still is. I don't have quite the specifics, but there's a new legendary beer story that involves Akiem Hicks.
Oh.
Have you heard of Wade Boggs and his memorable beer story?
Ooh.
Oh, boy. Wade Boggs allegedly drinks. See, the accounts are always different. The number is always around 60, but it's supposedly as high as 100. When they would go cross-country to Seattle and with the Yankees and they'd make a stop in North Dakota along the way, he would start at the Yankee Stadium, driving out, go on the plane across country, did 60 beers at least.
Wow.
Yes. Apparently, Akiem Hicks isn't too far behind.
But Akiem Hicks is a huge man.
Back in college, him and his offensive lineman, they would go, I guess, out for 50-cent wing night at the local college bar.
Mm-hmm.
And all the linemen would drink beer, eat wings, and the last one standing wins. And he said how one night eating all those wings at 40 beers.
Okay, let me chime in on this.
Go ahead.
And I think you can relate. Now, how are we defining? Because I bet you Wade Boggs beers were different from Akiem Hicks beers.
Yes, I bet you he had the tall boys.
You said college night.
Yes, a college bar.
A
Back when
college
he
bar.
was in Saskatchewan, or however you say it in Canada.
Saskatchewan.
Yes.
You went to Southern Illinois, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You ever go to Sidetracks?
Mm-hmm.
You ever go to Sidetracks when they had the cheap beer night?
Probably.
Or day? No, not even night. You get there about 4 after class and start just like going at it. And they had those cups where the beer is like about that tall, right? Yeah, I could do 30 of those. Like that's.
I don't think that's what we're talking about here.
I bet you Akiem Hicks was not getting tall boys at a college bar on a wing night. That's what I'm saying. I bet you they weren't getting on a wing. On a wing night, you think they're giving them tall boys on a wing night?
Well, it depends, but okay, maybe not tall, but they're coming for the 50-cent wings. The beer is, I don't think, discounted.
Listen,
so they're gonna make up their money on the beer.
How big was those cups at Sidetracks?
Ooh, I don't remember exactly, but they seem like a shot of beer.
Yeah,
half a beer.
They were about this.
You think that's what he's doing? I don't think so. I think he's getting a full can, full bottle.
He's a college student.
In Canada, it's different.
Yeah, they don't care about it as much, right?
Right. He was 19 and he mentioned his drinking age in the paper.
There's not even boosters with $100 handshakes for these guys in Canada. That's not hockey. So it'd be even different. We're saying guys are paying, like, man, you know what? They taking care of us. They giving us money. We can go to the bar and get what we want.
So you are not a believer in this story, in the folklore of Akiem Hicks.
I think he had 40 beers. I just don't think they were canned beers, is what I'm trying to say.
So you think he had about 20 at best.
Let's not talk about the strength of those beers, right? At those college bars. That's when you start to notice a little difference. It's like,
what if he got bottles?
You know damn well he didn't.
Maybe it's dollar bottle night with the 50-cent wing.
What do they do bottle night? What? He's in between our ages. Where they doing bottle dollar night at back in the early aughts? Where are they doing that at?
The early aughts in Canada, Saskatchewan.
Right. Okay.
Next up for grabs.
Up for grabs.
Let's talk a little baseball. Are you hotly anticipating this White Sox manager with only a couple days left in the World Series?
No, sir. No.
No, I asked the question.
No, sir.
I asked the question.
There's 1 day left of the World Series.
There could be a couple, like I said.
No, guess who's going?
All right. Are you talking White Sox, or I'm going my third up for grabs?
Walker.
All right. Third up for grabs.
No, we're going White Sox because you hate the Dodgers so much, and I told you.
Yes. Shut your mouth. I'll leave. I'll leave the live StreamYard feed.
You don't want Dave Roberts. You hating on affirmative action is what you're trying to tell me as far as Dave Roberts keeping his job?
That's right, too. I'm this close.
All right. Yeah, I am waiting for the announcement of AJ Hinch. If I can't get Bruce Bochy, like, I will give my AJ Hinch love up for Bruce Bochy.
Whoa! Really?
I will for Bruce Bochy. But Bochy has came out and basically said, you know what? My preference would be for this COVID situation to kind of be tamped down, perhaps have a vaccine.
Yeah. Preference is not to be in Chicago.
Before I jump back in it. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I bet Bruce Bochy be out there on the West Coast knowing that Dave Roberts' ass is
oh, yeah. He's a West Coast man.
He'd be like, just listen, there's nobody more pissed off that the Rays didn't do their job than Bruce Bochy. Right? Like, damn it. Right? So I expect, I hope that there's been a smoke screen is what we've been getting. Also, not purely a smoke screen as far as the interviewing, but also, like Rick Hahn has said, getting a lot of people outside of the organization's ideas and how they view what the White Sox have done and probably should be doing moving forward. And I'm referring to bringing in Tony La Russa's older self and some of the other people that they've interviewed. But yeah, I
think the ghost of Lou Piniella was interviewed too.
Listen, I would quit. Dude. I would quit. If they brought in, listen, you don't even know this, man. I used to love Lou Piniella, right? Because I was a Griffey fan.
Me too, until he managed the Cubs.
I loved Lou Piniella, right? Like Sweet Lou was
that Mariners team. Come on.
Yeah. So again, but I learned my lesson in that, right? Like Lou Piniella had retired after Tampa. Like he had retired, baby. He was done. Because remember when he went to Tampa, the thing was basically he was supposed to walk off into the sunset, right? And he came up here and was like, y'all got some money.
I'm already retired here. Why don't I just manage here?
Right. So yeah, I definitely look forward to I have been looking forward to the World Series to have ended so that the White Sox can announce who their new manager will be. And I hope it's AJ Hinch with his cheating ways. I hope he does not cheat.
What if it's Tony La Russa as soon as end of the ninth? The reports start flying out.
I have some apprehension. I think that listen, and it's not fair to use ageism against him because
especially when you're voting for Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, but he's still been a part of the game. So that's why I don't feel the same as far as Bruce Bochy, as far as Tony La Russa's almost been out for a decade. You know, like this is
he was doing things, just not
yeah, but the point that that's what I'm saying, but managing, and I'm talking about everyday contact with this player and this new generation. Like this isn't the same player, and I'm not to say that he can't get a handle on this and he can't necessarily work his magic with these players. But this is the same players that he left when he was managing. You had more of the old guard being in charge. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, don't do that, don't backflip. You know what I'm saying? And all you had and now you're coming in where we swagging out. That it was funny. Paul Sullivan had an article in the Tribune talking about he just doesn't think with this team's free spirit that Tony La Russa necessarily may be the guy for them. But he also pointed out it's not fair to use age against Tony La Russa. And I don't want to use ageism against Tony La Russa, but I mean as far as his legacy, he's got the best legacy of any of the guys that the Sox have any chance of hiring. That's just the truth of the matter. I just don't want to be in a Phil Jackson. I know it's not the same, but a Phil Jackson Knicks situation where it's like he says he wants to do it now. The Knicks sucked. White Sox have a chance to have a team that can win a title, so he should be a lot more engaged. But still, and then also, I just don't know the dichotomy between Rick Hahn, who my love grows more and more, and Tony La Russa. When Tony La Russa has a direct line to the damn owner. You know what I'm saying? That's like I don't really like that because right now, to me, to be honest with you, Khan is more important than Tony La Russa. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the truth. Like I place more value on Rick Hahn than Tony La Russa, and I don't want to lose Rick Hahn because Tony La Russa doesn't like something. And I don't want to always put it on analytics because that's kind of how you always diss the old guard. Was saying stuff like with metrics and analytics, but just he may not like something the way that the front office wants and may go to Jerry with it. And I don't want anybody to usurp the power that Rick Hahn is necessarily building. And I know AJ Hinch couldn't necessarily pull that off, so that's even more of a reason. But again, one of the things that Rick Hahn said was recently. You know what I'm saying? And 2011 isn't recently. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it just makes sense. I know there's always going to be something about what took place in Houston, but you still see this year with Dusty, Houston still had played well enough. Now they weren't the same, but played well enough, and they didn't have Garrett Cole, but they weren't the same, and they still made it into the playoffs with a chance to go even further into to the ALCS in the playoffs. So we still know a lot of that had to do with the talent that they have than just cheating. Now, but that doesn't still absolve him from cheating and being a part of it. He's a cheater, and that's always going to be on his record. But I still think he's a very intelligent baseball man, and I think he fits with Rick Hahn, especially since he's been a guy that's been in the front office. I think it would be a nice Vulcan brain meld.
Nice Star Trek reference. And shout out to Dusty, almost making it to the World Series again. I thought you were going to get on me for hating Dusty.
No, listen, Cubs fans hate Dusty is just pure racism.
Oh, okay. Oh pulling the racist card.
Listen, this is the thing. You guys,
Is that why White Sox fans don't want Tony La Russa? Because they're pulling the racism card?
facts. We two dark Cubans out here, baby. No, okay. With Dusty, real quick. The thing was, and I'm someone looking on the outside. Cubs fans did not care. The Cubs fans did not think they could win before Dusty instilled in them, why not us, right? And Dusty tried his best. Listen, that wasn't Dusty with the Giants that messed up by pulling that pitcher out and sitting there signaling to the other team like, yeah, we about to do it to your ass. That wasn't the same Dusty. It's Dusty. It's not Dusty's fault. Well, you can say it's Dusty's fault that he didn't get the team back in order. But what happened with what's Shuddy Bartman? That was Moises' fault. And then what, Alex Gonzalez after? Like, that wasn't Dusty's fault. Now you can say the manager should have gotten, maybe could get that composure back. That wasn't like, so y'all can't put that on him. And then with the arms, Riggleman was blowing out what's his case carry was on way before Dusty got there. I was watching the slurve ball games, all right, when Shuddy was a rookie, throwing that slurve mad nasty, all right? And Mark Pride and Roy stopped working. They can't put that on Dusty. If Dusty gave y'all faith, listen, if you gave Dusty the amount of money that y'all gave Lou Piniella, you would have got more out of those teams than Lou Piniella would have got out of those teams.
Second round exits instead of first round.
Hey, see the complaint. You weren't used to nothing before Dusty. Then y'all got a taste of the good life. And it was like, get that black.
Yeah, we got a taste of the good life and knew we needed better than Dusty.
Okay. And then you went out and got Lou Piniella.
Hey, how would you feel if they got Dusty tomorrow, the White Sox?
I don't want Dusty.
Yeah.
I don't want Dusty because I think for me, it's, and again,
nobody wants Dusty. It's okay.
He proved that he still can do it. I just think the game is kind of past Dusty. I wish Dusty had a World Series ring, but I'm not trying to get that brother a ring with my team. Wish him the best. Wish he would have won with the Nationals. It didn't happen.
Yeah, they needed Davey Martinez.
Hey, Dave Martinez is a good manager. And he's had some ups and downs, but we always knew he had talent as far as being a manager.
Dusty. Good old Dusty.
Yeah,
Dusty.
Boy, y'all some savages, boy.
Let's dust off a little bit of old history right now.
In the basement to the front to the penthouse, and y'all go like, "Oh, that caviar, that is not premium caviar." Boy, y'all some savages.
Hey, you don't want Dusty. Don't tell me.
Okay.
Oh, you tell me you wouldn't want Dusty back in the day?
No, I would have loved to have Dusty back in the day.
Anyways.
For real quick. First of all, I had Ozzie, who wasn't even a manager prior to getting that job. All right. At least Dusty was a manager, right? So I had Ozzie again. But if you take Ozzie out of there with any of the Sox managers over the last Tony La Russa, out of the last since 83, 84, 80, whatever that was, Dusty Baker is better than all of them. So if you're talking about in the early aughts, would I have taken Dusty? Hell yeah, I would have taken Dusty. Are you crazy? Like, okay, no, yeah, I would have taken Dusty in a heartbeat. He was a winning manager. I get guys that are on their first try, and you guys have gotten that a lot of the times before you got Dusty, and then got Lou, and then got Joe. But in the past, Riggleman, I don't remember if Riggleman was a manager before he took over that job necessarily.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm just still saying, like, or there'll be a loser, but like, nah, dude, if you're telling me in the early aughts, coming off of what he did with the Giants, I could have got Dusty Baker. Hell yeah, I would have taken Dusty Baker. Like, so that's what y'all be bugging. Purely.
Here we go.
Let's continue to go for grabs with the hate in your heart.
Well, as long as we understand, in Dusty we don't trust. Next question. Yeah, you want to get that final word on Dusty. Dusty isn't winning. That's the point. No World Series. No World Series. None. Zero.
Taught you how to long stroke, and now you're mad at him. Right? Daddy, how you long stroke? Let me show you. Now he ain't worth nothing. All right, let's continue.
I'm not going to listen to this story when your son asks you that.
All right.
See? Dusty. All right. Last question. Since you're Mr. Man of the World and of the people, and didn't necessarily watch a lot of sports this weekend,
No,
What was your favorite part of the weekend? Sports or non-sports?
Oh, my favorite part of the weekend, Saturday. I for the last 2 weeks that I've been kind of under the weather, and I didn't know if I had a cold or it was allergies. And it's been 2 weeks that it's just I still haven't been able to sleep through the night. I've been getting up either like at sometime between 2 and 5.
Getting the dusty sweats. Oh, I hope that man's all right.
I get up from not being able to breathe from my sinuses, and I just get up because I can't sleep if I can't breathe right, and also I don't want to keep acting up. So I haven't even been able to sleep right. I haven't even really been able to get the type of workout that I want to do because my sleep patterns have been off. When I get up, I have to go straight into work and stuff like that. So I was supposed to go to my cousin's because he has a newborn boy. He named the boy his middle name after my brother that passed in June. So I told my other cousin that we were going to go see him, and we haven't been able to do it because of me being under the weather. So this Saturday was the first time that I was able to go out to the burbs and hang out with my little cousin and my other cousins. They were both close with my brother, but we all were close to my brother, and it was just good to hang out with them and just talk and be around them. I felt like my cousin felt like he had to like entertain us, and it's like I wasn't there to be entertained. I was just there to just want to talk and just because I think we enjoy each other's company, especially like that what the cousin who had the kid, he was born like 14 days after my brother, so they were always kind of intertwined. But then the other cousin, he's probably like 5 to 6 years younger. So my brother was like his big brother in a way, and he doesn't have that person with him. So I want to spend more time, and he's kind of wants to hang out. So I want to kind of be there for him. So it was really good to spend time with family. I really appreciate it, and I had a good time. I look forward to doing it again. So that was my favorite time. And then Sunday, I didn't watch any football because the Bears weren't playing. I didn't really want to do anything sports-wise because it's just like I've been doing a little bit of a lot with our show and then doing Sean and Maya on Mondays and Fridays. That I needed a break, a little bit of respite. So I just hung out with the family. We watched TV. We just hung out. We played games. I played laser tag with my kids. Yeah, I just trying to because usually at least one of the days out of the weekend belongs to them, because even if we're on remote learning, Kenton is in his room from 9 o'clock. Basically, I mean, he'll come out of there. He's in his room from 9 o'clock to 3:30, 3:45 with class. You know what I'm saying? And then he does his homework. So we're not really around each other like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I have to work, After has to work. We have to do Kelsey's remote learning between our work schedules or whatever. So it's not like we get family time. So it was good Saturday, Sunday to just hang out with them. And I decided, I'm not watching football today. Like, even though I planned on really using my red zone, since I don't when the Bears play, because I'm usually watching the entire Bears game. Because I usually like to I tell myself I'm going to tweet live, but I don't. But I would at least want to be abreast with what's going on so nobody ruins it for me. So that was my weekend that I enjoyed. How about you, Ryan? What did you do this weekend? Or what did you enjoy this weekend?
Oh, I was Mr. Sports, per usual. Watching those Rays come back. Need another Ray comeback. And then a lot of football. What was the spread on Saturday?
There wasn't a spread.
No spread.
No spread, and it was fun. It was. I mean, it wasn't. This is 2 weeks after I was supposed to come out there. He was talking about like, yeah, next time I'm gonna have to get what you guys drink, and it's really not that important. I can buy my own food. It wasn't that like it's. I'm genuinely saying I enjoy hanging with them and just being in their presence, and it reaffirms us being blood. That these are the times in our lives. We're gonna be old heads in 1 minute, in a minute, and it just while we still have some youth, and me being the oldest out of all of us, it's good to just spend that time. And it wasn't even like a sad session because my brother wasn't there. That's what made it even better. It wasn't like we're just sitting there and wallowing in grief. We were enjoying ourselves, so I didn't need nothing like that. At those times, I appreciate the most. So shout out to David and Dantrell, Simone, Raina, Rory, and Corbin. Shout out to all of them because I really enjoyed myself this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, folks, got to appreciate who shows you the long stroke.
Dusty. Dusty taught y'all the long stroke, and then y'all forgot about him. It's like, oh my God.
You said long stroke, and I'm hearing great weekend. We really enjoyed ourselves. It's all mixing together now.
Listen.
It's probably the end of the show.
Somebody teach you the long stroke and that teach you how to sit there and please somebody, and now y'all act like y'all don't know nobody, right?
Hey, I got no pleasure from
that's like taught you how to win. That's I don't know you. Listen.
Damn right. You didn't win enough.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so listen, we always appreciate it again. We got 0 views again. This is on live. We're doing this as tests for the next few shows, and then we're going to go live with this and do some interaction with the comments and stuff like that. I see this a lot of being on Sean and Maya, how necessarily they use it. And before, me and Ryan talked about implementing this, and Ryan has done a lot to try to get this off the ground. So we're going to try to use StreamYard. Mess with it, even maybe get to the paid version. He's actually keeping me from spinning the bread until we tinker with this a little bit more. So shout out to him for that. But also make sure you check out the Flip. Want to definitely bring you some good topics with that. Kind of liven it up, look at some other ways to enhance that, and also perhaps bring it to this platform. Just try to give you some more levity and information with everything that we do. If you have any suggestions, we're always open to necessarily check it out. Also, subscribe to YouTube. Make sure you can check us out anywhere you can find any podcasts. We'll definitely be there. But you can find all our videos on YouTube if you'd like to see our reactions with whatever's taking place and whatever we're talking about. So definitely stay safe. Thanks, Ryan, for always staying up and taking care of us. And we look forward to talking to you all down the line.